Individual stories of how local communities in Kenya are harnessing indigenous knowledge and practices to combat climate change. Climate change and human rights violations are putting further pressure on indigenous people and local communities. However, these communities are using the indigenous knowledge practices to build their resilience to climate change and improve their food security. CGIAR Initiative on Climate Resilience Climber partnered with the Center for Minority Rights Development CEMIRIDE, which is a non-profit organization leading climate resilience advocacy in Kenya. We explored how climate change is affecting different groups of men and women and the homegrown solutions they employ. We did this through enabling community champions to tell their own stories. Jeremiah Kiprotich Kubetbet is a story about CBO focusing on ecotourism through tree planting, and the purpose of the story is to show ecotourism as a tool for conservation and economic benefits for communities. Call to action: everyone to join this noble effort that's contributing to reduction of global warming.
My name is Jeremiah Kiprotich Kubetbet. I was born early 1970s in a village around Lake Bogoria. I'm an Endorais. Endorais community are people living around Lake Bogoria, and they are indigenous minority community which are marginalized. In 1973, people living around Lake Bogoria, which were Endorais, were evicted possibly by the government to establish a national reserve for tourism and conservation of wildlife, which happened that as a child I was also a victim. We were forced to move to very far village whereby I grew up, and as a child, a boy child, at the age of 5 years, I was subjected to pastoral activities of looking after goats and cows. And at that point, I delayed going to school because I looked after for like 3 years, and then I joined school later in 1977 when I also dropped out at a later year in 1978 to go back and look after as a requirement as a boy child during the time of need you need to help. It is the same year whereby I unleash or I realize the potential and captivate the interest of tree planting after attending a tree planting event which was presided by former late President Daniel Arap Moi. And the same day, I took one seedling home to plant next day. And that's when my interest in tree planting evolved. I completed my primary school in 1989 and joined high school in 1990, and I completed in 1993 with fair share of challenges, because that time it is when climate change took its toll. And at times I lacked school fees, I was out of school on off, and it interfered a lot with my academic results. 1994, I out of school and I joined back to the community, and being energetic and ambitious youth, we interacted with other youth within the village, and we reached at a certain point, we shared our ambitions, and then we realized that, oh, we are of the same like-minded, and then we started coming up as a small group of environmentalists who want to change the future of environment within the community. It is when we came up with a small group by the name NETPON. NETPON means Ndoleta Environmental Trade Botanical Nurseries. Ndoleta is the old name of the place. And actually, from there, we started a small group and expand the group to be a self-help group of 14 men and 13 women. So we continue our activities of planting trees and advocating for good environment. Until 1996, we formally registered our group under social services. From then, we thought that This tree nursery now will act as an economic engine at the same time for us as youths and then community to sustain it so that it can be the source of the trees to be planted around. But it never saw the light of the day because by 10 community priorities was only to get food and conflicting justice between community and the government, whereby their rights and needs were subordinated by the people in power in the government.
Championing ecotourism.
It is then when we never got the coin, we decided to take different other approaches like initiating a community irrigation, which never picked up, and then we opted for ecotourism as a tool of conservation at the same time as an economic engine for the community, which we succeeded in 2003. And from then, we've initiated other projects like implementing catchment conservation of Machimoto River. And at the moment, we have a concept of natural regenerating and natural and planting indigenous trees, since it is resilient to the climate change. At the same time, it provides good nectar for the beekeepers. So NetPon has offered opportunity, economic opportunity for women and men, and boys and girls.
Call to action.
And poverty reduction in the poverty index is coming down, and we are appealing as we continue doing this good work. As we continue doing this good work, again, let me say, we need to invite you to join this novel effort towards global targets of global warming reduction, and we will continue that good work.